Good morning, everyone. Hi, and welcome to our next CATIA design talk. My name is Honorata Frings, and today we will speak about a train concept design from the University Hamburg of Applied Science. The train concept was created by the course for digital reality, and my guests today are Professor Dr. Jan Neuhoefer, who graduated for technical cybernetics at the University in Stuttgart, and he works for international companies in the field of virtual reality, interactive simulations for 15 years. And since 2018, Jan is a professor at the University for Applied Science for virtual systems and computer graphics. Welcome, Jan.
Thank you, and good morning.
Good morning. My second guest today is Felix Rockel. He's a creative designer and the co-teacher at this course, and he's our expert for VR, visualization, sub-D, and generative modeling at Dassault System. Welcome, Felix.
Hello, hi, good morning, also from my side.
Good morning. Before we start to talk about the course as such, I would like to ask you, Jan, to introduce the University of Applied Science a bit to you. Please tell us something about it.
Yes, thank you, Honorata. So at Hamburg University of Applied Sciences, we have about 17,000 students in 37 bachelor courses and 36 master courses. One of these master courses is called Digital Reality, which was started in 2018. Digital reality focuses on expedient application of virtual and augmented reality technologies in serious value-creating fields of work. For example, in design, engineering, manufacturing, marketing, training, etc. So actually in all those phases that we know as the value chain. Nevertheless, most of our students do not have a background in design, engineering, or manufacturing, but rather come from domains like computer sciences or media design. During their studies of digital reality, they learn all they need to know about 3D data creation and creation of virtual and augmented reality applications. Graduates often find positions as interface between different specialist departments and the IT department across all kinds of industries. Here in Hamburg, we have especially the aerospace industry and the maritime industry.
Cool, thanks, Jan. That was very interesting. Maybe you can now deep dive a little bit into the course.
Okay, so with the TRAIN project, we primarily wanted to introduce the students to the idea of the value chain with special focus and hands-on experience on the design concept phase. We picked the transportation industry as a promising field for innovative design concepts. Most of the students did come along with some knowledge on tools for poly modeling, like Maya, 3D Studio Max, or Blender, but nearly none of them ever had done true computer-aided design before. At the same time, we wanted to let them get into touch with the idea of digital continuity and found the 3D Experience platform as a unique paradigm for digital continuity along the whole value chain. At this point, the xApps, so XDesign, XShape design, and XGenerative design came along as examples for cutting-edge technology, as there are not so many CAD tools on the market right now, which do actually run in the browser.
Yeah, that's for sure. Thanks for this. Felix, maybe you can show us a little bit more about the xApps and explain what they are concretely.
Yeah, absolutely. Just because we haven't shown this before, here you see some of the results that we created during the course, some of the student results, but the students will later on explain how they worked with it themselves, using the 3D Experience platform and the xApps, creating those results. And just to quickly talk about this was the train that I created for the students, to demonstrate the applications on the 3D Experience platform, working completely in the browser. And for me, it's important to mention that none of the students had any CATIA experience prior to the course. So, of course, we had to keep the design a bit simple, as we just had 3 appointments to actually model the train. And for the students, it was super new. So None of this. I hear an echo at the moment. Sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Great. So yeah, just to have this as a background information, and you will experience the what the students came up with in a minute. Yeah, about the CATIA xApps, so the application that we used for this course exclusively, as we were in a pandemic situation, and we were not able to meet in the same room. Of course, we had a huge benefit by just using application that were running completely in the browser. So every student was able to log in from home and use those modeling applications, those 3 that we have now on the 3D Experience platform, to generate this train project. So yeah, we have 3 X applications, 3 applications that run completely in the browser. It's X design, and that's a bit like your part design that you know from CATIA. And then we have as well xShape design, which is like Imagine and Shape, if you know it, if you are aware of it. So subdivision surface modeling, creating quite complex shape very fast and easy. And generative design, which is very interesting, I think. With this application, you can create those repetitive patterns. Yeah, and like I said, all those 3 applications, as you can see here, I'm just in my Google Chrome at the moment, using the 3D Experience platform here to present, yeah, during this CATIA talk. Yeah, I have my application here. I could just launch them from here. You can access them through the compass. You know, search for your X application. Here you see all the applications that I have, and let's say X design, and I could just drag and drop them here to my dashboard and start directly in the browser.
Yeah, that's really easy to do, I think.
Yeah. And also for the students, of course, that was a huge benefit doing it like that. You know, we didn't have to run through a complex installation on each laptop of the students, and we were not sure which hardware each student had at home. So with this, just have an internet connection and you are good to go. And yeah, just one last thing on those xApps. Here you see just one example model that was exclusively created with those CATIA xApps. So X design and X shape design for this main body, and then some detailed patterns that you can see here with X generative design. And like you know it from CATIA, maybe you are able to switch between the different workbenches. That's the same here. You know, I could start with X design, just with the click of a button, switch to X shape design. And then if I want to have my pattern on top, just with a click of a button, switch to X generative design, and back and forth. Yeah, and you can see what you are able to do completely in the browser. So quite interesting applications and very helpful for this project.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I just wanted to ask, maybe you can talk a bit about your experiences by using these apps, because the course was not easy to deal with due to the corona pandemic. I think you had just had a few sessions with the students. Maybe before we invite the students to the studio, you can say a few words about that.
Exactly, yeah. So like for all of us, it was quite challenging doing a course like this with all the restrictions we have due to corona. So having something that works completely in the browser and everybody is just able to log in and collaborate was obviously a huge benefit. I think without this tool, we would have probably not been able to realize this course at all. So here I'm going to share with you the dashboard that we used actually for the collaboration with the students, or for this course. This was our main dashboard. Every student had access to this dashboard. So I had like a landing page. Here we shared the user names and the passwords for the 3D Experience platform with the students, and some general information. This is actually the presentation that I was holding during our first lecture. So, and I uploaded it for the students as PDF, so they could review it at any time. Then we had a tab here to exchange. Students were able to ask questions, pose questions, and I could answer them, or Professor Jan Neuhoefer was able to answer them. And then, for each project day, I created a tab where the students could review the main steps that we did during this day. And if they have missed something, they could review it here and then do it on their own. And of course, for the students, they were just able to log in at any time from anywhere and continue to work on their data. They didn't have to come to the university. They could do it safely from home, access their data from everywhere, and continue to work on it. And I advised all the students to create a dashboard for themselves and invite me and their professor. So we were able to review at any time all the data of all the students. So I just picked one example here. And yeah, I see I have anytime access about the status of the train of each student. I could review it, and if some student had some problems, issues that he's not able to solve for himself, I don't have to come to his place to help him out. I could just log in through the platform and help him over the next step. Just another example to pick maybe. Just loading the data.
So at the beginning, I think for most of the students, working on the 3D Experience platform was really a new thing. Also, digging into the concepts of CAD, computer-aided design, was quite fresh to most of the participants. Nevertheless, everybody got into workflows very quickly, although there might have been minor flaws and connectivity issues here and there. Taking into account the short duration of the project, so 4 sessions, 1 introduction, and 3 actual lessons, and that due to COVID, everything had to happen online, so without any face-to-face meetings, I think the results are really, really amazing.
Yeah, especially if you consider that none of the students had any CATIA experience before. And we just had 3 sessions together, and everybody that I'm sorry. Go ahead.
We go on. Sorry. I would like to invite our students to say some words about their project. So let me introduce to you first Yvette Chen, who holds a bachelor in IT and Hi. And the next one is Leah Dopperting, who holds a bachelor in science.
Hi.
Welcome, Leah. And last but not least, Tobias Korzyzkowske.
Hi.
Welcome. So now we have heard a lot from Jan and Felix, but I'd like to see what you've done and your ideas, and please share your experiences with us. So Yvette, would you like to start and tell us something about your concept and your experiences with the xApps?
Yeah, sure. I can tell you a little bit about the design process. It was actually surprisingly simple. What I really liked was, I was surprised by the fact that we only had like 4 appointments, and Felix told us by the end of the 4 appointments, you will design a whole train. I was like, okay, we will see. And just with the basic knowledge, you can see here my train. What I really liked about the apps were the user interface. It was really easy to get into it. And it was actually, we started with the outline and extruded the lines to a surface. And you can make more surfaces by subdivision, cut them out, knit together, or cut some edges. in the surfaces. And yeah, I really enjoy to have access from anywhere, because sometimes, well, I like to work at night, and so I could work on the project whenever I want to and wherever I want to. And yeah, the switching between the apps was quite simple. It worked quite well. Yeah, and I wanted to do not that typical design. I wanted to have a snaky design that you can see here in the front. Yeah, I wanted to build in some futuristic lines and aerodynamic forms. That's why I colored my train, so that the lines can pop out more. And yeah.
That's really cool, and it definitely looks snaky. It's very good. Cool. Leah, what about
Yeah, sure. So
you?
I also had no prior knowledge in design at all, so also not in CATIA, but a little bit in 3D modeling with 3ds Max. Yeah, but yeah, when you if you see my train in a second, I didn't focus that much on the design, but rather on following the tutorial that Felix provided us with. Because in the beginning it was a lot of input, so I think, like, all in all, it was really fairly easy. Also, as already explained, the user interface and so on, that was really easy. But yeah, it was a lot of input. We had to learn, for example, what these dashboards even are, what the CATIA xApps are, what their differences and functionalities are, etc. So yeah, but mainly, or yeah, first of all, because we didn't even had to install anything, because everything was online, it was really easy to get started. And yeah, also retrospectively, I think it is a very easy tool. And yeah, something I also really loved about CATIA in general was that you could just go back some steps in time, for example, to a sketch that you did like some hours ago, and just modify something, and everything else that you did afterwards just gets updated accordingly. And that was a really nice feature that, for example, Blender doesn't have. So we learned Blender at the same time in this semester, so that's why I can make that comparison. But yeah, I think it was like really easy. Also, the switching between the apps, there's just like one button, and you didn't even have to open the model again. Also, it just switches the app, and that was really nice and really convenient. Yeah, and if there were any more questions also, we could just like firstly ask Felix about that, or just look it up in the user manual, because there's just basically everything in there. Yeah, and that's it from my side, I guess.
Very good.
Very good, nice.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Tobias.
Oh, good morning. Hi.
Hi, Tobias.
Hi. So where's my train? Right there. All right, so that's my train based on my own aesthetics. My workflow was kind of the same, just like Leah's and Yvette's. So I don't want to repeat these steps. And like it has been said already, like most students in the course, I didn't have any experience with CAD software before. I mean, I had a little bit of experience in Blender, but that's it. In my opinion, it's two different stories. So that's for this one. Using xApps, I think XDesign was, in my opinion, the easiest to get into, because the tools are pretty easy to understand once you work with them. If you have a basic understanding, like what's a sketch, extruding, cutting surfaces, beveling, there's nothing else you need to know, I think. xShape, on the other hand, I think it was way more complex to get into, because it was very extensive. You have a node editor you have to understand with all its features, and I think you need some time really to get the most of this. But I think if you have a teacher like Felix or some resources, you can get pretty fast some good results, like the roof with the pattern on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I was like made from the node editor. And now maybe to the interesting part, performance and usability. I think in comparison, I have never used a native client. I know that there's a native client for these apps, but I never used it. So I don't know how the cloud-based appliances are in comparison. But I personally never faced any issues, like sometimes of errors or something along. But maybe one like a step is not or action is not applied in the browser, so you just need to refresh and it works. And if I remember correctly, there was one classmate, he wanted to switch apps in the app directly. It didn't work, but he found a workaround. So personally, in my experience, it was pretty easy and it was pretty good, like no software errors. I think the more feedback comes in, the developers is going to fix it anyway. So I think the current status is pretty good to work with it. Yeah.
Cool. And Tobias created an interior as well on his own, so that was also quite impressive. I felt.
Yeah, I find it really impressive what you did in this very, very short and limited time, and I really love your designs. They are awesome. And maybe you can show again your image with all the trains that you have rendered from the trains of. Yeah, this is really cool, and I really can imagine this going, through cities in the future. So it's really great. So in total, what would you say is? Did it work out for you, Jan, to work with these apps on the platform? And would you do it again in a course?
Yeah. So, look, we want to bring true industry expertise to our students. That sometimes includes to look for workarounds. And so I think the project was a big success, and we will definitely maintain the cooperation with Dassault Systems at this point. As a university, we're happy to be industry agnostic. So next time we might go into another sector like aerospace, for example, but maybe even something totally different, like life sciences and healthcare. So stay tuned.
Yeah, we will stay tuned for sure, and maybe we have the opportunity to talk again about the next course. Would you like to add anything? If not, then I would like to open the Q&A session to our audience. So the most questions that I see for now are, where can I access the xApps? Felix, this is something that you can explain probably. But if you have any other questions, you can type them into the chat window and we will answer them. Felix, please.
Yeah, about the xApps, you need the role for it on the 3D Experience platform. But if you have this role, which is a 3D shape designer, so I think wondering why I'm not seeing it here. It should pop up here in my roles. 3D innovator, or maybe because this is the Academia package and they are named a bit differently here.
In Academia, it's called 3D Innovator.
Ah, okay, 3D Innovator in Academia. And this gives you access then to the xApps, as you can see here. Yeah, and then you don't need to install anything. This is really just the browser part of the 3D Experience platform, and you can launch it directly by logging in to the 3D Experience platform in your browser using Chrome, Firefox, or I think Edge, and then just launch it from there, basically. So I can search for it here. And launch it, and then you see here I could start to model now directly in the browser with the xApps.
Yeah, that's really quite cool. So what are your next plans for the students? Yvette, Leah, Tobias, what are you going to do next?
Who's first?
Ladies first.
Yeah, ladies
We
first.
started with Yvette. We can go on with Yvette and.
Yeah, in relation of what in the project, or
Yeah, would you like to deepen your knowledge of that, or which direction are you planning to go within?
Yeah, we are in the course. We are programming with the train. Actually, we could export our train model and then import it into Unity, and then yeah, you can just program everything you want to. Actually, right now the tasks are how do you say it in English? Actually, it's like letting the train drive into in a hall and do a kind of like a repair system. And yes, it's like a whole animation and yeah, transportation system. Yes, and that's pretty nice. It's focused on both sides, like not only the design part, also like the programming parts and coding. Yeah.
Very good. I have another question before we go on. Let me blend it in. Could we work in the same train model together at the same time, Felix? That's one for you, or Jan, maybe even.
Yeah, so you can. It's just when you start or when you launch or when you open your train, the one that's opening it at first can also save. So you cannot open the same model at the same time. You can, but then you cannot save your changes. So there is a bit of an interaction to do or organization who is continuing at which state. But you could work on one part of the assembly. So let's say one designer is working on the wagon of the train, and one is working on the train, so the front part. I don't know what in English how you call that the front part of the train. And the other person is working on the wagon, and they could work simultaneously. And yeah, everybody's seeing the updates of the other person once you open the assembly. So there's a bit of an organization to do, like who is working on which part at which time. But yeah, you can all access not all the people that have the access rights can access the same data and continue to work on it.
Alexander, I hope this answers your question. We have a few more. Let me blend them in. Oops. Here we go. Yes. Can I do analysis in the xApps?
Yeah, I haven't used it myself, but there are actually some analysis tools that you can or features that you can use in the xApps. And even I think are some features in there for topology optimization. So to have a suggestion from the system for an optimized part in terms of weight and stuff like that. So quite complex features that are in there as well. I haven't used them myself, so I cannot talk out of experience here, but I know that those features are there in as well. So yeah, quite interesting to have a look at this in this as well.
Okay. Another question. Does this app is only for designing models, or have any deeper applications of it in the field of manufacturing and production, for example, thermal or fluid analysis for manufacturing?
I'm not 100% sure about the term. No, I don't think that this is directly in the xApps, but there is absolutely the connection to the native client. So that's maybe something that is important to mention. So yeah, there is this part which works completely in the browser, but once you hit the save button, you can access this data that you have saved and worked on it in the browser. You can open it in your native client in your local installation. So those two worlds, I would say, completely work together. I think I have some of this here to explain it a bit. So you have those two worlds of the 3D experience platform. One is the browser part, and one is the rich or the native client, which is the local installation. And of course, for lots of use cases or solutions, you have to have the local installation. There are those 3 xApps which work completely in the browser and which we used just for this course. And you can use them to model your shapes and access your data from everywhere, review it. But then you can access the same data from your local installation and have all the CATIA features and solutions, and also the other Dassault systems or 3D experience solutions accessible from the native client. So let's say your VR experience as well, if you want to review your model in virtual reality. So this doesn't work from the browser yet, but you can access this from your local installation, and you can access from both of those worlds. You can always access the same data. So you start to model your shapes, and then you could continue in the native client and do all your analysis in the native client on those surfaces.
Yeah, I think we could add here that depending on the roles that you have on the 3D experience platform, you can use the solutions that you have a license for. So as you may know, Dassault system offers Simulia as well, and a part of Simulia is of course fluid and liquid simulation and thermal simulations, air, whatever, many more.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
What are the system requirements? We get that question very often.
Yeah, I mean that's the great thing for the browser part. It's just a running internet connection. Should be a quite good one. So a good internet connection, not maybe just with your phone hotspot or something, but if you have a good internet connection, that's all, because all the computation, all the calculation is done on the server. So it's not done locally on your machine. So all you need really for using the xApps is an internet connection. Yeah.
And maybe for a clarification as well, so of course you can use CATIA on cloud as well. That you don't need to install anything on your computer, but that's again a different role and a different license. But for the xApps, you just need an internet connection. If you are asking for CATIA V6 or the 3D experience platform, how to install it and what requirements you need, I would like to invite you to come to our CATIA Creative Design and Experience community, where you can ask all the questions that you have about the systems and how something works, get tips and tricks, and connect with experts like Felix, for instance. Just sign up to the community and you have a whole universe of help and tutorials and things like that. So we are quite late. We are overdue with our talk. So I would like to end this talk now. I would like to thank you very much for being with us here today. It was great to have you. It was great to have students here. It was the first time, and I really hope that we can continue to do some student and academia talks as well, because it's a whole new universe, and you are very skilled, and I wish you all the best for your future. Have fun in the rest of your master course, and I wish you all the best. So,
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a lovely day, and I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.
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 Bye.